There's almost nothing in fantasy football quite like hitting on that late round sleeper who not only exceeds expectations, but becomes a weekly fixture in your fantasy lineup and helps propel your team to a fantasy championship. I'm going to break down 5 running backs being drafted after round 10 that I think can do that for you this year. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of each of these guys so you know what you're getting into when you draft them. And I'm also going to give you realistic expectations. I'm not going to tell you every single one of these guys is going to be a league winner. I'm just going to tell you what I think these guys can do, and you can make the decision to draft them or not. All right, let's start with Damien Harris, now of the Buffalo Bills. What are the pros here for Damien Harris? Well, tremendous touchdown upside in this offense. We know this is one of the best offenses. Going to get lots of chances near the goal line, and he's been a very good goal line back in his career so far. Also, defenses aren't worried about the run. He's going to face a lot of light boxes. He should be very efficient this year, something that wasn't the case in New England when teams often stacked the box against this quote-unquote passing attack. What are the cons? Well, Josh Allen will probably vulture some goal line touchdowns. Also, this team tends to throw the ball a lot around the goal line, so that may limit his touchdown upside to some degree. Also, this offense is not an offense that focuses on the run. They're more of a pass-heavy offense. Now, there has been talk that they may try to run the ball more this year. I don't know. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. They're probably going to do what they've always done, which is throw the ball a ton. So what are some realistic expectations for Damien Harris? Well, how about Damien Harris from 2021? You remember him? He had 929 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns that year. Now, I don't think he's going to get 15 touchdowns this year. That's a ton of touchdowns. But I think he could sniff 10-ish touchdowns here. And if he does that, that's going to be great for your 10th round pick. Plus, with the increase in the efficiency, this is a good runner. I think he could go over 1,000 yards. So you could be looking at, a 1,000-yard runner, 10 rushing touchdowns, which in the 10th round, you'll take that all day because that's a solid, low-end RB2 flex-type player that you got in the late rounds. All right, next up, I got a couple of rookies for you. Let's start with Kendric Miller, who I absolutely love. The pros for him, Kamara likely facing a suspension, which means he's going to get a chance from week 1 to show what he can do, and what he can do is pretty good. This is a very talented 3-down back. He can do it all. He's got home run speed, great vision. He could really show in these first 6 or more games if Kamara is out what he's capable of. Also, the Saints did use a 3rd-round draft pick on him, so he's got the draft capital. You got to think they're going to involve him in this offense. What are the cons? Well, if Kamara doesn't get suspended or when Kamara is back, we could be looking at a 3-headed monster here with Jamal Williams, Alvin Kamara, and Kendric Miller. That is never fun for fantasy. Also, this offensive line was terrible last year. I think they've gotten maybe slightly better, but only slightly better. It's still really bad. So that could definitely hurt his efficiency. All right, so what are realistic expectations for Kendric Miller this year? I think he could be kind of similar to Tyler Algier last year, a late round running back who comes on, doesn't necessarily dominate fantasy football, but if you grab him off waiver wire or if you draft him late and stash him on your bench, helps put your team over the top, especially if he's in your RB2 slot. All right, another rookie I really like is Chase Brown. Pros here, this guy handled 327 carries and 27 receptions in college, so we know he can handle a workhorse role. Also, he is an athletic freak, put up some insane testing athletic numbers at the combine. Lastly, this is a really thin Bengals depth chart. I mean, Samaje Perine is gone now, so really you're looking at Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, and Chris Evans, I guess. I mean, there's not a lot here in terms of competition. Cons are, Joe Mixon is clearly the starter if he's healthy. He's also potentially dealing with some legal issues. Doesn't sound as serious as Kamara, but assuming Joe Mixon is healthy, he's the starter. The other con here is this is an offense that relies more on the passing game. They were top 5 in pass play percentage last year. Not an offense that's going to lean on the running game. Now, Chase Brown does catch some passes, so maybe that won't be as bad for him, but still could limit his upside. So what's a realistic expectation for Chase Brown? How about 2021 Elijah Mitchell? Remember when he was drafted by the 49ers, they already had Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert went down, Elijah Mitchell stepped in, and he was great, ripping off long runs from time to time. Chase Brown likely could catch more passes than Elijah Mitchell, but I kind of see him in that kind of vein. He's one of these guys. No, he's not going to be a guy that is constantly churning out yards, but he's a guy when the hole's there, he's going to explode through it and has a chance to hit a home run every time. I could see him being this year's version of 2021 Elijah Mitchell should Joe Mixon go down or be suspended. And then look, we talk a ton about Bijan Robinson. We love Bijan Robinson, but that doesn't mean you should stop drafting Tyler Algier. I think there is enough here for Tyler Algier to still be relevant in fantasy. And the pros for Tyler Algier are, well, we saw him last year and he was very good as a rookie, so we know if he's needed to, he can do it. Also behind one of the best offensive lines in football and behind an offense that wants to run the ball. So even with Bijan healthy, I think he has flex value week in and week out. What are the cons? Well, I mean, the biggest con is Bijan Robinson, right? He lost his job to Bijan Robinson, but this team runs so much, I think he'll still have a decent role. Also, this is a guy just not going to catch any passes, almost zero pass catching ability here. So you're really banking on rushing yards and touchdowns. All right, so what are the realistic expectations for Tyler Algier? Well, I just kind of said it. I think even with Bijan Robinson healthy, he can be a flex start. He'll still have plenty of value. And if for some reason Bijan Robinson does get hurt, knock on wood that doesn't happen, he can step into that lead role, and we've seen what he can do. And then finally, I'm going to go with a running back I'm starting to come around more on, another rookie, and that is Taijae Spears. Pros here, not only was he a workhorse in college, he was a very good workhorse in college, so we know he can handle it. Also, the Titans gave him third-round draft capital, which means they probably really like him, and he should have some sort of role in this offense. What are the cons? Well, he's missing a knee. I mean, he's missing like his ACL, missing cartilage in a knee. That's definitely a worry. But everything I've heard or read says this will be something that will more affect his career, like shorten his career. Hopefully won't be an issue in year one. The other con, obviously the big one, is he's stuck behind Derrick Henry. And as long as Derrick Henry is alive and can move, he's going to be the starter and he's going to get the bulk of the carries. So what are the realistic expectations for Taijae Spears? Well, he's a handcuff with tons of upside, because I know people say, oh, Derrick Henry is built different. He's a cyborg, and that's true. But the last time Derrick Henry had over 350 carries, he missed more than half the season. He just did it for the second time in his career last year. Will he hold up? We shall see. But if something happens to Derrick Henry, injury-wise, Taijae Spears can step into that role instantly. He's dynamic. He's explosive. He can handle the workhorse role. He would be an instant must-add in fantasy. So rather than have that happen, just draft him and put him on your bench. So those are 5 late-round running back sleepers, but who are 5 players you shouldn't draft and 5 players you should draft instead? Find out right here.